Joining me now is Frank Macchiarola. He is the Senior Vice President of Policy, Economics, and Regulatory Affairs at the American Petroleum Institute. Frank, thanks so much for joining me today.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
Now, President Joe Biden signed more executive orders aimed at climate change and the environment. His executive order suspends new oil and natural gas leases on public lands and offshore waters to the extent possible. What do you think of this executive order and how will it impact Americans?
Look, it was a broad and sweeping executive order. It deals with climate change, and we actually share many of the goals and ambitions that this administration has with respect to reducing emissions. On the question of the leasing ban, though, we think that the administration is heading in the wrong direction here. The federal oil and gas leasing provides 22% of the oil that we produce here in the United States and 12% of the natural gas we produce in the United States. And that's really the difference between energy independence and security, which we've been headed toward over the last several years, and going back to the old days of reliance on foreign sources of energy. So we don't think it meets the mark both on the energy security front, and in fact, it doesn't meet the mark on their environmental objectives as well.
President Biden also revoking that permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. Of course, that was in regard to Canada transporting the oil to the United States. How does that, cancellation of the permit also impact Americans and jobs, especially?
Look, with the stroke of a pen, President Biden canceled the Keystone pipeline and a potential of 10,000 U.S. jobs. Those are good paying jobs in the oil and gas industry. And that's at a time when the United States is suffering from 6.7% unemployment. We have 10 million Americans out of work. I see no reason why, if your campaign promise is to build back better, you would on the first day cancel an infrastructure project that's going to put people to work, going to bring energy to the United States, and is going to help reduce costs for American businesses and families.
I just want to also reference some comments that were made by John Kerry.
What President Biden wants to do is make sure those folks have better choices, that they have alternatives, that they can be the people who go to work to make the solar panels.
What are your thoughts on John Kerry's comments?
That comment was really out of step with where the American people are. The fact of the matter is that the oil and gas industry jobs are highly technical, highly skilled jobs. They're good paying jobs. In fact, the average wage or salary in the oil and gas sector is nearly twice as much as the average private sector salary. And so the people of the oil and gas industry are proud of what they do. It sort of rings hollow when you say you're going to transfer your job to somewhere else, particularly, as I noted, when there's 10 million Americans unemployed. We need to put people back to work today, and the oil and gas industry stands ready to do that. We hope to partner with this administration to look at policies that actually create jobs, not policies that put jobs at risk.
You mentioned something earlier that I just want to go back to in terms of energy independence and how it could potentially be threatened under these new executive orders by the Biden administration. What relationship does energy independence have with our military? And do we expect to see more of a heightened presence of troops in the Middle East and other places around the world?
Energy independence and energy security is incredibly important for our national security. For the first time in 67 years, we are exporting more energy than we are importing. For decades, we've heard politicians talk about the imperative of becoming more energy independent for our national security. And just as we're on the cusp of that, policies like Keystone and the leasing ban, those revocations, those set us in the wrong direction. And so, we hope to work with the administration to sort of convince them that this energy source, this oil and gas resource, these oil and gas resources in the United States have been a tremendous benefit for the American people, can strengthen our energy security, our national security, can really put us on a strong footing with the rest of the world.
Frank, I so appreciate you coming on today to talk about such an important topic that's ongoing at our national, local, and state level. So I really appreciate it and hope you'll join me again soon to talk more about it.
Sure. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.